In 2008, ex-prison guard Cliff Goodwin was attending a call to a riot on his wing. While helping his fellow guards, Cliff was caught up in a brutal attack. Physically, Cliff was left needing nose reconstruction, and mentally, he has been scarred ever since.
The dream, every time the dream's the same. And it's the prisoner who assaulted me, dragging me downstairs into the lounge, tying me up onto a chair, and my family are already in the lounge, gagged and tied on the floor. And then he proceeds to slaughter.
In November last year, with no recollection where he'd been or what he'd been doing, Cliff started experiencing blackouts and would go missing for days at a time.
It's just become a joke. The incidents were becoming daily. There was one time when I disappeared on a Wednesday evening, come back on a Friday morning, not even aware of where my car was. I'd lost my car. It's got so bad that the wife won't leave my side. She won't let me have her sight 24 hours a day. She has to hide all the keys to the house, to the cars, and basically babysit me 24 hours a day.
If he doesn't get help, then I've got to the stage where I've got to think of the family. And he was talking the other day that if he carries on, he'll have to leave.
It's just ruining everything. It's in marriage, work.
Can't go on the way we're going, because we're going to lose the business, we'll lose the house, we'll lose everything.
I just want my life back. I haven't got a life at the moment. I'm just an empty shell.
I love him so much, I don't want that to happen. Oh, can we stop a minute?
With nowhere else to turn, Cliff and Tracy have come to see Nik and Eva Speakman.
Come on in.
So Cliff, why are you here today?
Been diagnosed with PTSD and you're my last hope.
Can I ask you, Cliff, how has PTSD affected your life?
I'm just the shadow of what I used to be. It's ruined my family. It's ruining the love between me and my wife. I used to be a prison officer and I was seriously assaulted on duty one night. All I can remember is his head turning as he's looking at me, and then his fist following. And then there was other inmates all around, 30, 40 of them. I just immediately started to think that was all going to start having to go as well.
Just so I've got some indication of how it does make you feel, if you're to score a feeling of anxiety on 0 to 10, 10 being... 9. Okay.
Yeah, a good 9, 10. Then my colleagues, another half a dozen or so colleagues turned up. It took 6 officers to release his grip from me. I've come free, turned around, and there they are, trying to get him on the floor and restrain him.
In essence, you're still stuck in that moment trying to fix it.
That happened 10 years ago?
Yeah. You're saying about having all the guys around me. Yeah. That memory is as clear as day at the moment. I'm there.
You're there, right, OK.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at it for what it is now and not how you were trying to look at it.
Are you ready for the facts?
In the past, those punches, you avoided them. On this day, the punch landed. You're in that moment and you're trying to process it. You see all the inmates and you think, this is it. This is game over. And that is what creates your PTSD. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
OK.
For the first time ever.
Why did the inmates all gather round? Were they going to kill you?
No.
What they were trying to do?
Trying to help me.
So they were helping, not attacking?
Yeah.
And you said... The way you talk about this whole event...
It was all about Cliff. Everyone's after Cliff.
So was it ever about you?
No.
Was he remotely interested in you that day?
Not at all.
So is he remotely interested in you at all?
Not at all. I feel like I've actually taken a happy pill because I feel really relaxed for once. Just all my muscles are just nothing. I'm not.
I can see it.
Knotted up.
I can see it. Honestly, physiology.
Feel soft and floppy.
Your physiology has totally changed. So Tracy, we wanted you to come in to see if you can see a difference.
Putting the old me back.
Oh, oh my God, where have you been? It's smiling.
That is the first time.
I ain't stopped smiling for ages.
Oh my God, you're back.
My goodness. Watching that transformation, there are 6 of us on this sofa. We couldn't take our eyes off that for a second. Cliff and his wife Tracy are here with us alongside Nik and Eva. And watching the two of you watching that is really special because here's 18 years of marriage that you guys have shared. And this is like a rebirth, isn't it? For the two of you.
Back at the beginning, yeah.
Isn't it? Tracy, just describe that moment again. Coming into that room and seeing a changed husband of yours.
It was amazing. His eyes were bright, he had colour, and before he was just nothing. He was just numb. And when I walked in there and I saw a pink face with blue eyes, it was like, I got my husband back.
And what was it like
amazing.
for you then to see her reaction? Because, I mean, you've sort of been feeling like you've been responsible for this marriage not working, for not being that person that you fell in love with at the beginning. So to see her looking back at you like, there you are, that must have been incredible for you.
Well, I can't explain how I felt at that time. But up until that moment when these guys actually cured us, I was just a shell. I never actually realised how I was being.
Yeah.
You described it as a light bulb.
It was like somebody switched the light on. I don't know if you noticed it on the video, but
yeah.
All of a sudden, everything came real, and I just realised where I'd been for the last 10 years.
So what have you been able to do since that treatment that you couldn't do before? How's it changed your life?
Oh, dramatically. It's silly things like being able to read my daughter a story. I wasn't in any frame of mind to do anything. I couldn't concentrate on work. I couldn't physically function, full stop. I used to love taking Ruby Boo to bed and reading her a bedtime story. And I've not even been bothered to be able to do that.
Listen
but
to music.
I can again.
You got your life back.
When we was driving home from seeing Nik and Eva at their house, we was driving back, and even silly little things like Trace said, because I was listening to the radio and that's what Kings of Leon was playing. He said, you haven't even taken any notice of what's been on the radio, and I haven't taken any notice of anything around me, full stop.
You've just been a shell, like you said.
For so long, this has been your lives. This is a new being for you guys, I guess.
Nik and Eva, you said that a lot of people suffer from PTSD and other disorders, and they're treated with medication. When you see the difference that this has made, and in a short space of time, but just by talking therapies as opposed to medication, is that actually needed, do you think?
Do you know what? I think the big thing was that he did have therapy as well, but everyone would seem to be looking at the attack, because that was the thing. But it wasn't the attack, it was after the attack that was the most frightening thing, because he thought that the inmates were going to gather and there was going to be a riot, and you know, he was going to lose his life, and that was the start of it.
But medication and respite period is obviously sometimes necessary. However, in the long term, to treat post-traumatic stress disorder, what you have to actually do is deal, like we did with Cliff, is find out when did he actually feel, at what moment did he feel his life was in danger, and change his whole thought process. I mean, it was so visual to see that when he actually got it and realised it wasn't the punch at all, it was actually when I was laying on that floor, I felt in danger and vulnerable, whereas in actuality those inmates liked me and they were protecting me.
Concentrating on the wrong moment all this time.
Yeah, yeah, you have.
And with PTSD, we often think that it's just we sort of found out about this term, didn't we, with people sort of returning from fighting or in the army or the military in some way. But actually PTSD is something that can affect you in all areas of life. It's basically surviving something or having a shock in some way and carrying it with you.
And 1 in 3 people, you know, the statistics suggest that 1 in 3 people who have suffered any form of trauma,
or seen a trauma,
will go on to suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder, and the symptoms are really severe and debilitating, such as anger issues, depersonalisation, which Cliff was diagnosed with,
and severe depression.
And depression, because you are consumed in that moment, because obviously survival is an instinct, and we're trying to fix it. But it's great to see.
It is. Thank you. And go and live your lives together. You've got it back.
Yeah, we've got it back finally.
Yeah,
I'm cured 100%.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing it with us. You're amazing.
Thank you so much.